Game Maniacs. Maniac Rob with Maniac Brady here to play another game of The Walking Dead All Out War by Maniac Games. Now, if you followed the other video that was already posted on our channel, it was the first tutorial in the book of getting started. And it teaches you how to survive. Now, we are going to play together tutorial number 2, which is how to survive on your own. In this tutorial, what happens is that Rick and Carl are out in the streets, and Rick is trying to teach his son Carl how to shoot. Now, with him shooting, you know what happens? It creates a lot of noise, so it attracts walkers. But the problem is, though, is that there's more than just walkers that are attracted. There's a rival gang of Derek, Sandra, and Patrick. So they hear this noise too as well. So they're coming closer because they're probably thinking, what do you think the three of them are thinking from hearing the gunshots? That's right, that they're having supplies and they can take them so that they can use them to help survive. Because, you know, it's a dog-eat-dog world in The Walking Dead All Out War, or zombie-eating zombie, or zombie-eating human in All Out War.
Or human-eating zombie, depending on who you are.
Well, if a human eats a zombie, the meat is infected.
Or, sorry, human eats human, depending on
yeah,
who you
that could happen too as well. Cannibalism could. You don't know what can happen in an apocalypse with zombies, or walkers in this case, from The Walking Dead. So have a seat. We're going to go over the board. We're going to go over the characters, their stats and everything. And we're going to start trying to kill walkers and kill each other and collect our supplies. Here we see the board setup for this tutorial 2. Learn to survive on your own. Now, you can see this is a lot more involved into the first tutorial. And we'll go a little closer to see what it is. So first off, this is where we have the opposing team, our Brady's team. So we have Derek, or not Derek, sorry, that is Patrick, so that's why I put the names on the bottom. So Patrick, Derek, and Sandra. We have just some trees just to fill up the board a little bit of garbage bags you can see there. But you can see there's Walker with a supply. We see another Walker right here, and supply is on the truck. And we see another supply counter there, and we have 3 barricades along the back there. Now you can also see there's another supply counter there, 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 and there. So in total it is, oh, one in the middle right there. I forgot you. There's 9 supply counters in total. And also you can see, you know, this side kind of mimics the same as what Brady's side is. Rick and Carl will be starting on this side. And the opposing team, Brady's team, is starting on that side. Simply the objective, I will go over that shortly. But before we do that, let's just take a close look at the character cards and see what weapons, or equipment I should say, they're equipped with to start the game. What we're looking at is Brady's team we have here. So Brady, do you want to go over Derek, what he had for equipment, and if he has any special abilities?
Derek is a scavenger leader, and he's a bruiser. He rolls a white die for melee, a white die for shoot, and a white die for defense. His nerve is high. His leader abilities is be more afraid of me. Any friendly model within Derek's kill zone uses his nerve value instead of his own.
Ooh.
Which is really good.
And his nerve rating is high. That's really good.
And then he has a 38 revolver with him, which adds a white attack range for when he shoots.
And it's a 10-inch range.
And it's 10-inch range.
Alright, and if anybody is wondering what these little tokens are for, is after you activate your character, you place this by your character to let the other player and yourself know that, hey, I've activated them this turn. So let's go over and look at Patrick's stats here, Brady.
Patrick is a scavenger bruiser. He has one white melee die, 1 red shoot die, and 2 red defense die. His nerve is medium, and he has a baseball bat with him, which adds a red melee attack roll, and bruisers may reroll 1 red die per attack.
Whoa, so bruiser, so that means that Derek is a bruiser, so he'd be able to reroll his too. So we'll double check on them special rules, but just in case. Just a quick correction, I looked into the rule book for bruiser, and what bruiser means, it don't mean that you can reroll. What bruiser means is that you, instead of carrying a heavy weapon with 2 hands, you're big enough that you can carry it with 1 hand. Now, with this here, that gives a reroll for Patrick, which is really good. But with him, like I said, with Derek, if he shoots, he can't, and misses, he can't re-roll the shoot, unfortunately. So let's talk about Sandra. So Brady, do you want to tell us about Sandra?
Sandra is a scavenger runner. She has a red melee die to attack, a red shoot die, and a white defense die. Her nerve is medium. Her special rule is nimble. At the start of each melee, including Sandra, she may roll a black die, which is on a
badge. She gets
badge.
to move 1 inch away
from all current enemies by the shortest route possible, moving through models if necessary.
That's really good. We've seen these two in action into the first tutorial that we played, and they played very well together. But unfortunately, Patrick did die. But he's not dead. He's still here. So that's Brady's 3 characters he has. Now, in the game, you have to roll for initiative, or the scenario will tell you, hey, you have initiative. And because Brady has 3 characters and I only have 2 characters, I will get initiative in this game. One other thing to mention about Sandra from where she's a runner, what that means is that whenever Sandra's going to do a climb test to climb over barriers, she automatically passes. She don't have to roll the black dice to see if she passes like Patrick and Derek would, because they are not runners. Sandra's the runner, so she's able to pass climb tests automatically, but she can't carry 2-handed weapons with 1 hand. So, she's going to have to use her item slots. And that is for Sandra. On my side, I have Rick Grimes. He is a tactician. Now, he has a special ability which is called Blood Ties. If Carl Grimes is in the same group as Rick and is within his kill zone, Rick gains a red die to his melee attack and defense rolls, which is really good. Rick also has which is called Stay Calm. It's a leader ability. So usually when you're doing a hold your nerve action, you get to roll the black die, and if you get a shield, you're able to reduce the threat track by 1. With Rick though, his special ability, he rolls a blue die and he reduces that amount that counts on the threat track according to how many successes he gets rolling the blue die. He's also equipped with the 8mm pistol. It's a handgun. He adds 2 red dice to a range roll attack. You can see here that he has the sheriff badge, which means he's initiative, and Carl is initiative. Either one of them will start first. Let's go on to Carl. You can see Carl right here. He's a marksman. Special rules for Carl is vulnerable. If Carl is in the kill zone of a friendly model from the same faction, that model will not panic. That can become very handy if I keep the 2 of them together. We will see how Brady and I play this out. Carl also has a lucky hat. It is considered armor. Each time Carl is reduced health to 0 points to roll a black dice. If you get the badge, then Carl don't die. He's not removed and instantly restored 1 health point. That can be very, very helpful. Also, he has his .22 revolver. It's a range of 10 inches, the same with his 9mm pistol for Rick. It's a 10-inch range. You're going to probably see, if not all of the range weapons in this game are only 10 inches. I don't know. I don't got any of the expansion packs, so I don't know. We'll figure that out as we go along when I get some expansion packs. With this handgun, his .22 revolver though, he gets 1 red die added to his range roll. We start the game off with the threat track at 1. Now the scenario for this mission, or whoever wins the mission, how it's determined, is when the threat track goes up to 18, the game is over, and whoever has the most search tokens win. Now, just say that Brady's team actually kills off Rick and Carl before the threat track reaches 18, then the game is over, and Brady wins because he kills my guys, because he'll be able to just go out and pick up the search tokens. So there's 2 ways to win. Either pick up as many search tokens before the threat track hits 18, or kill the opposing team. And that is it for the instructions for this game, Tutorial 2, Learn How to Survive on Your Own. Let's start doing the battle in the carnage. Now, Rick has initiative, and he's going to go first. From where Rick has the initiative, he's going to run, and where he's going to run is up to this barricade behind. That creates noise, unfortunately. So where Rick runs, you have to pick the closest walker within 10 inches of you, and that walker will shamble 6 inches. So on the other side of the ruler, you can see this is the hero side, that is the zombie side. You can obviously tell that this zombie is the closest. So what will happen is that this zombie will shamble 6 inches. But the thing with zombies too as well is they can only move in straight lines. So because of that, the 6 inches, when she just moves 4 inches, she's going to hit into the barricade. And that will stop the zombie from doing anything else. And that is it for that zombie. For Rick's second action, you know what? There's no other zombies. Well, there's that zombie that can kind of run in. But he's saying, the heck with it. He's going to shoot his gun because they already created noise when he was teaching Carl how to shoot the gun and zombies are all around. So, I'm going to shoot. So because the zombie's behind the barricade, now what I'm understanding is the zombie originally has 1 dice for defense, but because it's over a barricade, it adds a +1. So 2 red dice for that. Now Rick, if you can see here, his shoot is a blue dice, but he has the revolver and it has 2 red dice. So I'm going to have a blue and 2 red. And Brady will roll for the zombies, and Brady has 2 red dice. So Brady, actually the heroes will go first because he's shooting. So, oh, that was a horrible roll. I got 2 hits. Go ahead, Brady. 1 hit. So because of that, what happens in that case is that the zombie is hit, but the zombie don't get killed because I didn't roll a headshot, which is the exclamation mark. And in that case, the zombie gets pushed back 1 inch, like so, and then becomes prone, which is just knocked down. But there's something else that Rick has to do now. Because he shot the gun, he has to roll this dice to see if he's going to be able to keep ammo or if he runs out of ammo. This is a rules correction here. Now, Brady, for some strange reason, this kid right here, my son, he has a photographic memory. He can look at instructions once and he remembers them and he soaks it in like crazy. So Brady, I made a rules mistake there. And what is the rules mistake that I made?
You made only if you roll an exclamation point, you have to roll to see if you made them.
That's right, for a headshot. I totally forgot that. Thank you for that, Brady. Now, you probably heard Brady whispering as I was recording. That's fine because Brady knew the rule. Thank you, Brady, for that, because as you can see, I didn't roll a headshot. So this black dice, I don't need to roll for any ammo. So that just means that the walker is prone and pushed back 1 inch. Thanks for that, Brady. Before the turn sequence continues and it's one of Brady's turn, I gotta take this here token and lay it beside Rick to let Brady and myself know as a reminder that, hey, I've activated Rick. So it's on to one of Brady's characters. Correction about that, before it is Brady's turn, and again, this kid with the photographic memory, I have to do mayhem. Every time a weapon, a ranged weapon is shot, if it has this onto it, you can see right here it says mayhem. So that means that mayhem is caused. And what mayhem is caused is 2 things have to happen. Number 1 is the threat tracker. I'm just swinging over here instead of cutting the clip. Goes up by 1. So every time somebody fires a weapon with mayhem, the threat track goes up 1. So we're in threat level 2 now. Oh boy. And on top of that, you look at the range ruler here and you can see noise mayhem. It's a 10 inch. So because of that, any zombie, not just one, not the closest one, but just any zombie that's within 10 inches of where the noise originated from, they do a shamble of 6 inches. So that means that if I hold this up to poor Ricky, and that is under 10 inches, so that zombie is going to shamble up 6 inches. But as you can see, there's no other zombies within that range. So that's not bad. We'll just keep it like that. So all I'm doing here then is I'm going to shamble up 6 inches on this lovely zombie right here. So from base, 6 inches gets just before barricade. So right there. Good zombie. Stay there. Stay there, good zombie. And that ends my turn for Rick. Now it is on to Brady's turn. It is your turn, Brady. Which character are you going to activate? Derek.
No, sorry, Patrick.
Oh, Patrick. All right. So Patrick is the gentleman with the baseball bat. And what are you going to do? Let's see. You're going to sneak him up 4 inches so you don't create any noise. Interesting. So that is your first action. Nothing happens when you only sneak, so there's no noise being made. What are you going to do for your second action with him? Are you going to try to hold your nerve, possibly? What hold your nerve is you're going to take the black dice and you roll it. If you get a shield or the badge icon, then you reduce the noise track by 1. That is one option you can do. You can shoot if you want, but if you shoot, you're going to create mayhem, and that zombie's going to move in close to you.
I can't shoot because...
Oh, you only got a baseball bat, so you can't shoot. So you're just going to hold your nerve?
Yeah.
All right, let's see what you do for hold your nerve. All right, Brady, see if you hold your nerve successfully there. You do. That's awesome. So the threat track is reduced by 1, so we're back down to 1 again. And Patrick is done with his turn. That was a good roll, Brady. All right, so now it's Carl's turn. What Carl is going to do is he's actually going to run 2 as well to be close with his father, just like that. Now, when Carl run, he makes a noise. So the closest zombie within 10 inches, and you can see there's no other zombies in 10 inches that's eligible, will do anything. So this zombie is not touching the base, so he would hit that barricade. That ends the zombie's turn. So that is Carl's first action. I'm just going to place this down here now, even though the Carl has one more action. And that action, what Carl is going to do is going to use his handgun and is going to try to shoot that zombie right there. Hopefully can kill it. Carl is using his .22 revolver, so he gets a red dice plus his shooting one, which is white. And it is over a barricade that Carl is shooting. So then Brady has 2 red dice. So Carl's going to shoot first. Oh, 3. That was pretty good. But no headshot, so we don't have to roll to see if he gets reload. And then Zombie got... Oh! Zombie got 3 and an exclamation. But the exclamation don't do anything. But what it means is because it's 3 against 3, the tie always goes to the survivor. So because of this zombie gets pushed back 1 inch. That is it for that, but there's also another thing that happens. Mayhem, because Carl has mayhem on the revolver, but there's no other zombies that are around within the 10-inch range. So that ends Carl's turn, but we have to put the threat track back up to 2 because it created noise. Mayhem noise, that is. So let's swing over here. And goes right there to 2. Brady, who are you activating first now between Derek and Sandra? And what is Derek going to do?
He's going to move up to the barricade.
You don't have to measure because you're going to hit, that's right.
And then I'm firing at the zombie.
You're going to fire at that zombie. So zombie gets 1 extra dice because they're shooting over the barricade. Now, we may potentially make some rules mistakes in this video. I just want to do... let everybody aware, if we do make any mistakes, by all means, please comment down below and let us know what rules mistake we made, and also refer to the time of when we made it in the video, as well as the page in the rule book, so that we can refer to it and we can find, oh, this is what you do. So we had to fix that, and this is how I learned to play the games as well from all of you viewers out there. Thank you very much for doing that, because I love seeing the comments if I make any rules mistakes, because it educates me, and I love being educated and playing these games. So Brady's going to shoot 2 as well. Brady's shooting with his revolver, or should I say Derek is shooting the zombie with the revolver. It is a 10-inch range, and you can see here it's well under 10 inches. So Brady, what dice do you roll?
2 white dice.
1 for your standard shoot and 1 for your revolver. So roll them and see what happens. 2 hits. Alright. Zombie get 2 hits too as well. So what happens in this case, Brady, is survivors always win. So this zombie is just getting pushed back an inch and it bumps into the truck. That's it. And that is your second action for Derek, so now we're going on to Sandra. For Sandra, Brady, what are you doing with her now?
I'm running her up to the supply token, and she can go over there because she is a runner.
Right, you automatically pass climb test. That's correct. And for your second action, I'm assuming you're picking up the search token? Of course you were. So this gets passed to you, and you are going to pick up in the supply deck the top card, and also too as well is just like in the last game, we're just going to lay this card here, or this token here on Sandra's card too as well. So if she gets killed, we just drop it down where it says search, which means that the other player, if they pick it up, if Sandra dies, they can't search and grab another card of the supply deck. Brady's searching the supply deck. He's got a Molotov. It's a range of 6. This is really cool. Blast. 1 use only. Add 2 red dice to the range attack roll. Roll a black for each walker beneath the template on a shield. They receive a burn token. So you can turn walkers on fire. You can set them on fire with a Molotov. I've never seen this before. Again, this is only the second game I've ever played. And this is your first game for you played. So, do you know what? I hope that you set one of them on fire, because I'm really interested in seeing that. From where Sandra ran, she creates noise, but it's only whatever zombie that is eligible and within 10-inch range. So let's look at the ruler here, and you can see the only one that's in range is that one, but against the truck already, so just won't move because zombies have to move in a straight line. But, you know, for her to move this way, zombies are just going to bump into it. But zombies, because she's already been touching the truck, she does get the move. But just say, for instance, this is just an example, she was back here, then she would start moving and hit the truck. But from where she was already in contact with the truck, she only can move in a straight line, so it's going to have to be this way, and it's a shamble of 6 inches, which will be roughly right here. So she goes right there, and that ends the turn of that zombie, and that ends Sandra's turn too as well, because that's her 2 actions. So you, sir, have picked up the very first supply token, and so you're 1 ahead of me. This is in trouble. I mean, I'm in trouble, because you already started by picking one up. I may have to try to kill Sandra next turn. What do you think about that, Brady?
I don't think that's a good idea.
I think it's a great idea. So let's go on to the event phase now. For the event phase, the first thing you do in the event phase, you have to use the template, which is the kill zone, and check to see if any zombies are in the zone that is going to be be in running distance to pick up and get base-to-base contact for melee. So obviously this guy is not. This guy is, you can see, it's definitely going over Patrick, so he goes up in base-to-base contact with Patrick right there because he's getting ready for melee. Let's look, here's Sandra, but you can see that she is not in zone with that walker. Let's go to Rick and Carl. So that there, wait, hang on a second, it's kind of hard to do it when you got the camera. So definitely is in base contact, but the zombie moves straight, so bumps into the barricade like that. This zombie is prone, and we can't check for that too as well, because Carl wouldn't be in range anyhow. And that is part of the event phase. Now the next part of the event phase, we're going to draw an event card and do what it tells us on the card. The event card drawn that Brady drew is the hunger, so the threat level goes up by 1 first. And then you can see it's still all quiet, so read the all quiet, and the all quiet states, the walkers suddenly stop, nothing else happens. Do you know what? I can live with that. No walkers do anything else, that's great. And that ends the event phase. Now we're on to the melee phase, and I know we have some melee to deal with. In melee, what happens if any miniatures are in base-to-base contact with the zombie, the threat level goes up to 1. It don't matter. For an example, if there was 5 survivors in base-to-base contact with melee, it wouldn't go up 5, it would only go up 1. So we're going from all quiet to low-level threat now. Now we're going to have to deal with the melee, which is right here. Oh, so Brady, you are going to, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here. So for Patrick, just like any other hero, you have a choice. You can either defend or you can attack.
I'm attacking.
You're going to attack. So let's look at your stats for your attack for your melee. For Patrick's stats, his standard is 1 white dice for melee, plus he has the baseball bat, so he gets 1 red dice. Now, what's really cool about this is bruisers may reroll 1 red dice per melee attack. Now that is with the baseball bat. 1 red defense dice for the zombie, so the zombie's going to roll first. Gets 1 success. Alright, Brady, do your worst. Oh, Brady is attacking. So, oh, you got a red. Go ahead. And blank, but it don't matter because you get 2 hits. So let's just compare the results. So 1 will be eliminated, so it's a tie 1-1, but you rolled the exclamation mark, which is a headshot. So do you know what that means, Brady?
It's dead?
You killed that walker. You busted his skull open. He don't go prone, you just completely removed his head from his shoulders. You killed him. Good job. So there goes that walker. Brady killed 1 walker. We're on to the next and final phase of the turn, which is the end phase. Now with the end phase, there's a couple of things that we do. Number 1 is that we are going to have to see if any of the prone walkers will stand up. So this walker is down, is prone. That's the only walker that is prone. So the way we do it is we take a black dice, and if they roll a shield, then the walker stands up. If the walker don't, if you don't roll a shield, so if it's a blank, walker stays down. And the walker stays down. So this walker is prone. You can see right here, this walker. Now, also as well, is this is where you would have to check the nerve rating and everything else. But everybody is a medium and high nerve level. So, and we are still in low threat, so nothing happens there. And that ends the first turn for this here tutorial. Now what I'm going to do is I'm not going to record every single step. If you want to learn more about this game, you can always go to manticgames.com, and you can also check out the very first video too as well that I shot for the solo mission, because I do more of an in-depth explanation of the rules. But we're still going to record. I'm not going to keep recording every turn though. When something significant happens, I'll be back to show everybody what happens. One thing I forgot to mention is you take your activation tokens away from your characters, just like that. And now also the initiative, which started with Rick, goes to Brady. So on the beginning of this round, Brady has initiative. Brady's being a little rat, I have to say, because on Brady's turn, Patrick was here and he snuck up, so he didn't create noise, and he searched this here token, so he got that. And what did you draw, Brady, for your card?
A scythe.
A scythe. And what does it say for the scythe?
Adds a white to a melee attack roll.
Right. Now, it is a bulk. It has the keyword of bulky and sharp. So for bulky, what that means is it's a two-handed weapon, so it would take up your 2 slots. However, from where you are a bruiser, what that means is that it only takes up 1 of the slots, or 1 slot in your backpack, because you're so big and strong you can wield it with 1 hand. You have no problem whatsoever. And you can see there, Brady has 2 melee weapons. Another key word on this scythe is sharp. And what sharp means is when you're in melee and you win, you're going to roll the black die, and if you get a shield, that enemy takes an extra wound. So that could be a double hit wound weapon. Like, that's crazy. Because, you know, you can take 2 wounds from him, Brady. Like, that's an awesome weapon to have. I wish you were on my team. No, I don't. You're in trouble anyhow. This just happened. It was on Carl's turn. You can see he's in a little bit of a predicament here. Because Carl was here. He ran. He created noise, which attracted one of the zombies to get in. And then he thought he'd be smart and say, you know what? I'm going to shoot my .22 revolver, and I'm not going to shoot at the zombie, but I'm going to try to shoot, because this zombie was actually here. It wasn't in base-to-base melee combat, because then he wouldn't have a second action if he was. But because he wasn't, he goes, I'm going to shoot at Sandra right here. So when Carl shoots at Sandra, because Sandra's behind a car, she gets a bonus of a white dice to roll. Now, Brady rolled for Sandra. And Carl rolled, and Carl managed to pull off a headshot too as well. So because of that, Sandra would take an extra wound, but because it was a tie, excuse me, because it was a tie, the survivor, it always wins, so it hits Sandra. Sandra goes back and takes wound because it got a headshot. But because he shot, he created mayhem. And you can see the zombies are just starting to try to swarm poor Carl here. And on top of that, the threat track goes up to 1 to 5. And on top of that, he had to roll to see if he lost ammo. His .22 revolver is flipped over. You can tell that he ran out of ammo. Carl is in a lot of problems, a lot of trouble at this moment. Oh, this is not good at all. On Brady's turn, he is activating Derek. Now, Derek is pushed up against the barrier, and he's not a runner. So to get over this barrier, Brady has to do what's called a climb test. He takes the black dice, and if he rolls a shield, he successfully climbs. If he don't, then he don't climb, and he stays where he is. And he didn't climb, so that was his first action. You'd still have one more action left. Now, you can do such things as hold your nerve, which is try to reduce the threat track, or you can shoot a zombie right there. There's other things you can hide, but I don't see any reason for hiding right now.
I am actually going to hide.
You're going to hide?
Yep.
So to hide, what you do is, I think you have to roll. I'm going to double check onto this for the hide action. If not, you just lay down. Now, when somebody hides, just to let you know, that when you do go down, for you to stand back up again on your next turn, it uses an action. So do you still want to hide?
No, I'm gonna hold my nerve.
You're going to try to hold your nerve right here and reduce the threat track? Alright, I'm still going to look up what hide does for just one moment. I was correct. In hide, when you go to hide for your action, you're prone when you're in contact with the barrier. So from where Derek is in contact with the barrier, as an action, you can lay down for the hide, but Brady's chosen not to. He's going to try to hold his nerve instead. And he fails to hold the nerve. Brady kind of snatched that dice away right away. The camera still picked it up, Brady.
No, they didn't.
And that ends your activation for Derek. And that is it. Because your 3 characters activated, and my 2 characters activated. Do you know what that means? We're on to the event phase. During the event phase, the first thing we do is we check the kill zone. And I checked the kill zone, and this walker was in Rick's, so I moved her up towards Rick, so base to base. That was the only thing. Carl was lucky by only having 1 walker in his zone. And so this zombie don't. And none of the other characters have any walkers in their kill zone. So because of that, the next thing we do is we draw the card, and we just drew the card, and it says roamers. All quiet to low threat, which we are in low threat. Each player moves 1 eligible walker in a direction of their choice. Brady has initiative, so Brady is able to move 1 walker that is eligible, which means it can't be a walker that is in base-to-base contact and melee with somebody else, and plus that is outside the 10-inch range. And that walker can move any direction that you want, but it shambles. So let's see where you're going to move it, Brady. That was pretty quick there, Brady. I said you can only move within the 10-inch, so that walker was there, and Brady just quickly snapped it up and put it right by Carl. You're picking on him. Why are you picking on Carl? Like, that's not fair.
I want him to die, okay?
That's not fair. He's only a little kid. Like,
all is fair in blood and more.
Blood and more?
Yep.
Alright. For my zombie movement, I moved that zombie the 6-inch shamble, and it came in base-to-base contact with poor old Patrick there with the baseball bat. We're on the melee phase now, and you can see they are 3 miniatures that are in melee. Because of that, the threat level is going up to 1 yet again. So we are on 6 right now. This is some trouble. And then we have to resolve melee. You have initiative, Brady, so we will resolve the melee between Patrick and the zombie first. You are choosing to attack, I'm assuming?
Yes.
So what are you attacking with?
My sight.
So how many dice do you get?
1 white dice with it. And I already have an extra white dice because of melee, so I get 2 white dice.
So your base is a white one, and then the sight adds an extra white. And the poor old zombie gets 1 red. Go ahead, Brady. 2 hits. Let's see if he gets 2. None! So that means that this poor zombie right here is not dead. Well, zombies are dead anyhow, but gets pushed back 1 inch and goes prone. Woo! So that's 1 melee taken care of. Now it's going to be poor Carl's turn and Rick's. Let's do Carl's first. Now the way that this works for the melee for the zombies, so the first zombie gets 1 red dice, the second zombie gets 2 red dice, so that's 3 red dice against Carl to start with. Now I'm going to have to decide what Carl's going to do, but Carl don't have any ammo, so Carl can only attack in melee with 1 stinking red dice, or defense 2 as well. Carl's going to defend, even though it don't make a difference, because if he melees or he defends, actually, you know what, I'm going to attack, because if I choose to defend, the zombies still might not die, because, you know, you don't inflict wounds on a defense, you just end up pushing them back. So he's going to attack. So Carl's going to go first. And he gets 2. Oh, and a headshot. Okay, Brady. 3 dice because of the 2 zombies. Oh, you get 2, 3 and a headshot. So these cancel out. And it gets 1. This is sad. A sad day. Do you know why it's a sad day?
Carl gets bitten by a zombie.
Right. So first off, Carl does kill one of the zombies. So this zombie is gone because I didn't like the look of this zombie. Just gone. And also, that zombie... Wait a minute. It's not looking good for Carl because he goes from 4 down to 3 and he gets flipped over to a bite mark because the zombie bit him. That's mean. And now what happens is this Carl, poor, gets pushed back 1 inch. Just like so. Poor Carl. Carl's hurt. Carl's really hurt. He's bleeding out. Ouch. We're on to Rick's melee. So Rick can either choose to defend or attack, but it's only 1 zombie. Rick is going to attack. Now, what Brady and I were looking up into the rules, just so we can clarify this, let's look at his handgun. Now, we had a question, the question simply was put that, can you use a handgun in melee? And in the book, what it tells you is if a handgun has the keyword handgun into it and reliable, what that means is that for the handgun, you can use it in melee. If it did not have that keyword of handgun in your pistol stat card, you couldn't use it in melee. You would have to go with your melee. But because Rick has his handgun in keyword, he's able to shoot in melee attack. Also, with the reliable keyword, what that means is for ammo checks, you get to re-roll. So you roll the black dice if you get a headshot to see if you run out of ammo, and if you got a blank, you can re-roll it once, and that is reliable, which is opposed to unreliable. What unreliable is, you're going to roll a black die, and that will determine if your gun is broken and discard it or not. But this is a reliable handgun, so Rick is going to shoot with his handgun in base-to-base melee contact with this reliable 8mm pistol. Let's go and see the damage. For shooting, Rick has a blue dice and 2 red. Oh, come on, Rick, you can do it. Oh my God, Brady, I don't even think you're going to have to roll. You got 1 dice. So you got nothing, but that means that's a lot of hits. Brady, that's 5 hits, and it's a headshot.
I think the zombie's dead.
So yeah, that zombie is overkill. So that zombie just gets blasted just like that. But. I have to roll to see if I still got ammo. If it fails, then I just re-roll. Ah, he's good. He still has ammo.
Sure you don't want to re-roll that?
No. One thing I forgot to add for this, so with Rick's special rule of blood ties, if Carl is in the kill zone of Rick, he gets an extra red die. I didn't really need to do it because it was definitely overkill. I killed that zombie good. But just to show you, I did check the kill zone template and it did overlap on Carl's base. So he would have got an extra red die. But we don't need to do that because he totally killed that zombie. Now, because he's shot, it does create mayhem. So I have to move every zombie within 10 inches that is not engaged or prone. Shamble. But so this zombie's going to shamble and is in base-to-base contact with Carl. Look at this. She's trying to reach. Got your nose! Got your nose! That's no good. Now, because of that, is there any other zombies that are within 10 inches? So there's Rick. There's none. There's no other one, so I'm safe. Rick is safe. And that ends the melee part of the phase. That was pretty intense. Now you can see too as well that we have a prone walker there and we have a prone walker there. So we're going to have to roll because this is the end phase now. And we're going to have to roll to see if they stand up. Also too as well as whoever is bit, which is poor Carl. He's not on the end phase, but on the beginning activation phase of Carl, where he is bit, he has to roll the black die. If he gets a shield, he don't take another wound. But if he rolls a blank, he is going to take an extra wound because that just signifies that the infection is growing and spreading in poor Carl. But that's okay though, that's not until he activates again. So we're on to the end phase. A lot has happened since we were playing this game. You can see there's a traffic jam going on here, but this is not what I want to record. Is it, Brady?
No.
No, because Brady's turn with Sandra, because she has the run ability, she's a runner, so she automatically passes. She sneaks, so she didn't make any noise. And for her second action, she's going to pick on poor Carl with a Molotov. Now the Molotov has blast one-time use for the key rules. So what blast means, so she's going to add 2 red dice to her range attack. So Sandra's range attack originally, if you look at this, is 1 red. So she has 3 red dice, and the way blast works, Brady's going to roll. He has to get 1 headshot or exclamation for it to work. If not, what happens is then the target will be able to move that blast template 3 inches away in any direction, and whatever fills underneath that blast template will get hit. Go ahead, Brady. Hopefully you get an exclamation. Oh, you did, you creep! No! Because my rotten kid Brady hit me with the Molotov, you take the blast template and you put it over top. And anything underneath the blast template would also have to defend. But it's only poor Carl picking on a little kid. How dare you?
It's like Carl has to die.
Maybe not. But Carl has to defend that. Now, there's nothing in it saying that he gets caught on fire or gets a burn token. Only walkers would get a burn token. So I have to defend with my 1 measly die. You got 2, so I have to at least get 2. And I get none. So Carl takes 2 points of damage.
And he takes an extra one from headshots instead.
Just hold on a second here. It's not nice. Just to confirm too as well, Brady was trying to add a little more injury, but because he rolled a headshot, that just means that it was a successful hit. It don't mean you get an extra attack onto me, because you can't do a headshot with the Molotov. You can hit me in the head, but you're not going to create a headshot damage wound onto me. So anyhow, Carl is down to 1 wound, which is horrible. And on top of that, there was nothing in the zone right here for it to do any other defense. But it does take mayhem. So when mayhem happens, all eligible walkers within 10 inches of the target, because it says specifically in the book, Brady, and we read this and we read it over and over again to make sure it was right, that the noise only originates from the center of the blast. In this case, it was Carl's head, thanks to you. So the only walkers, because this walker is not eligible because it's engaged in melee with Rick. But this walker is, so it's going to shamble 6 inches, and that's, I don't even have to measure that because that is base-to-base contact. So Carl is a base-to-base contact with only 1 wound left. But you know what Carl has? His lucky hat. So that may help him. But that was a good plan there, Brady, for strategy for sure, because you have just caused a lot of havoc and mayhem on poor Carl. I don't like it. Not one bit. That ends all of the heroes' activation. We're onto the event phase. So again, we have to check the kill zone, and then on top of the kill zone, then we have to draw an event card. On drawing the event card phase, I'm feeling very salty here, and you'll see why just from on the screen. Threat level went up, so it went up to 8, so we're in medium now. But because of that, low, medium, and high threat, the tension reaches fever pitch. Add 1 to the threat level, which I did. Immediately draw 2 more event cards. Apply the result one at a time. That's a horrible event.
And it was
horrible.
on your draw.
It still don't matter who drew the card. It's still just a horrible card. The 2 event cards that were drawn, one is trap. Nobody is near the wood, so we didn't have to roll to see the outcome. But because no one is eligible, the threat level is raised by 1. The second one is too quiet. Threat level gets raised by 1. And we're in medium. It says the groans get louder. Add 2 to the threat level, which brings us to 18 for the threat level. This is becoming very threatening. I can understand now why it's called the threat level, or the threat gauge. Dun dun dun! During Rick's melee phase, he fought the zombie here. He chose to shoot, and he did manage to get a headshot, so that zombie died. But now, because Rick shot, it created mayhem, so the threat track has gone up too high. You can see, oh, that's better if I'm on camera. It went up to high, so it's on 14 now, and it caused mayhem, which every zombie that is eligible moves 10 inches, within 10 inches, shambles 6 inches. This zombie was just right here, straight line, kabam, right into Patrick. So Patrick is in melee now too as well. So now Brady has to resolve 2 melee and see what happens. The end result of the melee attack for Brady's Patrick and Derek is that it was a tie, but survivors always win against walkers, so the zombie gets pushed back 1 inch. And you can see here that Derek actually won this melee attack and knocked the zombie down prone. And that happens there. Now we're on to the end phase of this turn. So all we have to do is we're going to have to determine a couple of things. Number 1 is going to be if the prone walkers stand up. And then number 2 is, I think that's it for the end phase, because then where Carl is bitten, I don't roll until his activation to see if he takes an extra wound. Just a quick rules correction here too as well. Because it is the end phase, Carl is bit, so whenever anybody is bitten during the end phase, you're going to have to alternate. First, the player with the initiative would roll to see if he suffers another wound, but we've been playing this off the wrong way. We've been playing it so that when the player activates, you have to roll first to see if you take a wound. So we're going to stick with that, but just to let everybody aware that this is a rules mistake that we did make, but we are going to keep it this way because we already started playing it. So when Carl activates next, he's going to have to roll the black dice before he can do anything to see if he suffers another wound because he's bit and the infection is spreading. But right now, we're going to roll for prone. So Brady, do you want to roll? Let's roll for this walker here first. Nope, stays down. That's the second time in a row the walker stays down. Now roll for the one by Derek. Oh, stands up. And that's it for the end phase. There's nothing else to be done here. He got lucky so far, so hopefully with his next turn, when he rolls for infection, the infection's not going to spread anymore. But one thing I forgot to mention about infection, just to let you know, Brady, there's weapons you can get in the game, like the machete, and it has the keyword amputee onto it. And if that's the case, on your turn as an action, you can roll to try to cut your own arm off or whatever that's bitten to see so stop the infection. Isn't that a cool thing? So it is really fun. This game is awesome. We are still going. It's getting pretty close. I think so far, just as a recap, Brady's kicking my butt because as it stands right now, Rick Grimes has 1 search token, and on Brady's team, Sandra has 2, Patrick has 1, and Derek has 1. And if we get to threat track 18, and that means the game ends, and Brady will win right now because he has the most search tokens. I'm gonna have to try to start putting some hurt on you, Brady, and try to kill. I'm thinking I might have to go after Sandra because Sandra has 2 search tokens, and if I kill Sandra, then the search tokens are dropped, but they can't be searched again. They can just be picked up. Let's continue on with the game and see if I get lucky. On Rick's turn, what he decided to do is, number 1, he picked up the canister right here, or the search container, and he's got ammo reload. You can see right here. Ammo reload is you attach it to a ranged weapon, discard this action to reload the attached weapon. So it gives me like a free reload. So I can roll it and I say, you know what, I'm going to reload it anyhow, and I'm going to get rid of that. Also, too, as well, is for Rick's second action, I use his leader ability, which is Stay Calm. So Rick rolls a blue die, and you reduce that many pips on the dice to the threat track. So we were at 18, or no, we weren't 18, 13. We were medium threat, so it dropped him down. So we're still medium threat, but we got a little bit more to go, so that's pretty good. We're on to Carl's turn. Now, he's planning on running so that he can get closer to this search token. But before Carl can decide to do that, he has a bite mark onto him, and he's at his last wound. So I have to roll to see if this is infected, if the infection takes over. If he does, he's down, but he has a lucky hat, so he can make another roll. So let's try this first. I need a shield. Yes! I got my shield, so I don't have to worry about my lucky hat. He don't get an extra wound. Perfect. So for Carl's first action, he's just going to run right to there. And now that is going to create noise, and the closest zombie within 10 inches move closer. Now, that zombie is not eligible because it is prone. That zombie's in melee combat, and you can see there's no more zombies on the board. So Carl is safe for the time being. And Carl still has one more action. Carl's second action, he's going to try to hold his nerve, so he needs to roll this to drop the threat track down by 1. No, he fails. So the threat track still stays at a staggering 12 right now. There we have it. So far, there's no more zombies left on the board because Brady and I have killed every one of them. And you can see that Carl picked up one of the tokens, and Rick is kind of in his zone just to help him out. And Brady was able to get all 3 of his guys together. And Brady has, which is an ammo dump. So anybody that is within the range of the miniature holding the ammo dump, they automatically pass reload. So when Brady gets ammunition again, and he's able to pick it up and reload his weapon, and if he gets a headshot, he don't have to roll the black dice after that because he'll automatically pass it. But first you gotta find more ammunition. That is gonna require some searching. And that is where we are in the game so far. And just to let you know, we are still on medium threat. We are up to number 13 again. One more, and there's going to be some panic happening between Carl and also between Sandra and Patrick. But you can see Derek and Rick have a high nerve rating, so they don't have to do any kind of panic check. Let's continue on. The tale of the battle is as follows. So we have a zombie finally on the board. Rick was able to sneak up and pick up the search token, and he got an old gun. It's unreliable. We had Derek here that kind of moved around. He ran, so a zombie was another one here that came on the board, and a shamble, but he's not in base-to-base contact. It is Patrick's turn. Now, Patrick has a nerve rating of medium, and because that's a nerve rating of medium, he first has to roll on the panic die. So it's the yellow die. We're going to roll it and see what that tells us. So you get, I think that's a run, Brady. Wait till we check the chart. what the crazy legs icon stands for is flee. So Patrick has to run 8 inches away from the closest enemy, and he can take in no further action. So the closest enemy to Patrick, because I'm all the way over here, is this zombie right here. So Patrick has to run the closest distance away. So is it going to be this way? No, because this is more of a longer distance. Patrick has to flee this way 8 inches. Brady opted to be a little different and ran diagonally up to the barricade, and that's where he is. And we're on to Carl's turn, but Carl is bitten, so he has to roll to see, first off, if he gets that wound or not. And then he's going to have to roll the panic dice. Oh boy. Come on, Carl, you can do this. Just because I said that, Carl's not going to do so hot. See, look. Uh-oh. So Carl he succumbs to his injury, but he has lucky hat. Each time Carl reduces 0 hit points, roll a black die. So black die, I get a shield. If I get a shield, Carl is not removed if I get a shield and instantly restored to 1 health point. On a blank, he is dead as usual. Oh no! Do you know what this means, Brady?
Carl's dead?
Carl succumbed to his injuries. But, do you know what happens there? This is really bad.
A walker takes his place.
A walker takes his place. He drops his search tokens, but the walker is right there. This is not looking good. Oh, poor Carl. He's gone. He dropped his loot. And a prone Carl zombie. That's not really Carl. Carl kind of grew a couple feet and turned green when he, succumbed to his injury. It was a mutant. He mutated, Brady. That's what it was. So he died. And that's it. So now Rick has some choices is forced to do some stuff. Rick is going to have to kill the walkers, get that search token, and then for the win, Rick is going to have to, go out and try to kill them and take some of their search tokens. We'll see what's going to happen. Brady is going to do what Sandra, he's going to try to activate Sandra, but he has to roll the panic die first. So Brady, roll the yellow die, see what happens. Question mark. Let's see what the question mark tells us. Question mark means terrified, which means that Brady can only perform 1 action this turn with Sandra. So Brady, what are you going to do with Sandra?
I'm going to run.
You're going to run her? Okay, where are you going to run her?
I am running her beside Patrick.
Sandra, where she ran the distance, she's able to auto pass because she's a runner, jump over barricade. But because it ran, it creates noise, which means this walker is the closest, so it's going to start moving in. It moves in a straight line and hits into Derek's base. So that just locks him in combat. On one of the event phases, we picked up which is called the Thunderstorm. So the threat level went up by 1, because you can see right there. Now, the Thunderstorm reads as follows, and it remains in play. All threat levels, a sudden storm breaks out. Immediately discard all gory clothing cards in play. None of us had gory clothing cards, so that's fine. Second, while the storm is in effect, survivors cannot shoot a target more than 8 inches away unless they first roll a shield on the action die. In the end phase, after rolling for prone walkers, remove 1 burning token from each model or scenery piece that has one. Finally, at the start of each subsequent event phase, the player with initiative rolls a black die. On a shield, the storm ends and this card is discarded. Again, this here is remaining in play until we're able to do that. So that's going to be very interesting. So what that means, Brady, is during the next event phase, we still draw an event card, and this one stays in play on top of whatever the other event card is. So it can turn to be pretty havoc. And the threat level is at 15 right now. We're close to finishing this game, and so far Brady's in the lead by one. One stinking token. I don't like that. And you can see from the board, the zombie ran up because it was in Rick's. Rick was going to shoot for his second action, but he decided to hold his nerve to drop down the threat level a little bit, but then the threat level raised back up again. This is terrible, terrible, terrible. Okay, so we're on the melee. This just happened. So Rick snuck up here and he shot at Sandra. And guess what happened? What happened, Brady?
She's dead.
How did she die, Brady? What was Sandra's defense roll?
1, and you rolled 4.
Right, and the barricade did not come in effect because it's definitely a line of sight. How you determine a line of sight into this is from the center model to the center model, which you can clearly see there's nothing obstructing it. So I shot Sandra, and on top of that, what did I get to Sandra? I got her a headshot. So she dies, don't come back as a walker because I headshotted her, and she drops all of her search tokens. And how many did she have?
2.
2. So the 2 search tokens are right there, and poor Sandra's gone. Rick just took the chance, and they are dropped. Now, it's gone up to 17 for the threat track because I shot and created mayhem. But you can tell there's no walkers within 10-inch range that can run, because this is well over 10 inches, so that walker would not beeline it. And that ends Rick's turn, and we're on to Brady's 2 remaining characters, which is Derek and Patrick. What Brady decided to do during his activation is he moved up with Derek, picked up the search token, moved up with Patrick and picked up the search token. So he still is able to hand to them darn search tokens, but I planned on that because Rick is in perfect line of sight to shoot the next turn. This is going to be good. But we are on to the event phase for this, and we have to remember that the storm is in, and it is storming pretty bad. Because the storm is in, and this is the next event phase, I have to roll a shield or the storm don't go away. Go away, storm! Go away! The storm has gone away. That is good, but there's no kill zones to check, and then we're just going to draw another event phase and move on. The new event card is an alarm. Lovely. Remains in play. Pretty much what this card is saying, just to sum it up, is you got to pick a card if there's any in play that is within 6 inches or away from 6 inches from a character or hero, which is right here, and because of that, the alarm is sounding, instantly creating mayhem. Oh, uh-oh. And because of that, what happens is the alarm consistently keeps going off until you roll for it in the next event phase, and so on and so on. I'm not going to read all of this card because everybody should know what happens. It created mayhem, so the mayhem track is at 17, goes down to 18, right there. Again, like I said, Rick took a chance in shooting Sandra to drop them, and then if this card didn't get pulled, if this card never got pulled, Brady, then you know what Rick was going to do the next turn, right?
Shoot Patrick.
He first was going to reduce the threat track by rolling the blue die. This is what my plan was. And then the next one would have been to shoot Patrick, because Patrick is weak, because the storm is done, and you probably wouldn't have moved Patrick, or potentially you might have, but Patrick, we don't know if he would have went or not. I don't know what you would have done. But because of that, I would have shot at Patrick, and Patrick probably, if I killed him, that's more search tokens. So I would have been able to go up and try to attack Derek to get them search tokens. That was my plan. But you know what foiled my plan, Brady?
The car alarm.
That stupid car alarm went off. In an apocalypse world, you can never bank on anything except for unpredictability. So that is it, Board Game Maniacs. That is the end of Tutorial 2, Learn to Survive on Your Own mission. Now, I've only lost by 1, Brady, but I still lost. So, shake your hand. Good handshake. Good game, Brady. It was a lot of fun. Did you like the game? Yeah, it was really interesting. There's a lot of mechanics, but they're very simple mechanics. We just had to refer to rules into the rule book and the frequent asked questions and everything that we found and printed off. But all in all, I think we did a pretty good job on playing this game of Walking Dead All Out War by Maniac Games. I definitely would give it a 10 out of 10 because I love zombies. The mechanics are nice and solid. It's fun gameplay. I can't really say anything bad about it. The miniatures are great looking. You did a good job painting the zombies, by the way. The scenery was great. The size of the board, like I said before, it's a little larger than what you have to start with, but I'm going to play a lot of my Walking Dead onto this. When I start playing more competitive games with other people and playing like 300-point games, we're going to play on an even larger board. On my other videos, you'll see some of the larger boards, like the cityscape that I did build. I'm excited for that, but we played the 2 tutorial missions. Do you know what's next after that? We start just playing missions for points and everything. I cannot wait for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. So Brady, did you have fun playing it?
Yes.
Okay, I thought you couldn't talk or something. Did the zombies bite your tongue out?
No.
Oh, good. Because I don't want you to turn into a zombie.
They bit yours though.
They bit poor Carl, that's right. Carl died. Carl turned into a zombie. Ah! Oh boy, Brady. Brady. That was a really close game. It was a lot of fighting along the way with the zombies and the other heroes. You know, I played the solo mission last. I really like the solo mission. I'll probably play a couple more solo missions as time goes on for Board Game Maniacs. But I'm really interested into the competitive missions, as in one team against the other. I would like to play a two-person game, like 2 people, but a cooperative mission, not a competitive mission. Because I think that'd be interesting to work together to try to succeed into the objectives. But I got a funny feeling, even though we'd be on the same team, we'd end up starting to try to shoot each other. What do you think about that? Yeah, I know you'd try to shoot me. That's right. Until next time, Board Game Maniacs, hope you like this. Remember, talk to people. Communication is key, no matter what way you talk to them. And it's very important to any relationship out there, even playing board games. That is correct. So until next time, you know what I'm going to say, and that is...
Be a maniac.
What's that, Brady? Be a maniac! That's right. Till next time, everybody, go kill some zombies.